Hi everybody, and welcome to Hear the Rare Voices of the DIPG community. My name is Rachna Prasad. I'm so excited to be bringing you this podcast series. In future episodes, we will be interviewing various members of the DIPG community in hopes to bring more accessible information to a wider audience. In this episode, however, I will be sharing my story with DIPG and my brother's battle against this deadly disease. He is the reason I'm so passionate about DIPG advocacy, so I thought it was only right to start by sharing his story. So without further ado, here is the first podcast. It has been just me, my mom, my dad, and my little brother for most of my life. Even though my brother and I are 6 years apart, we were always best friends. We always did everything together. Somehow he kind of just knew what to say to me and knew what I needed, whether it was like I was happy and he was like, yeah, like let's dance, or I was sad and he just came and he sat next to me and he was like, it's gonna be okay. And he looked up to me in such a pure way you often find in all of my birthday cards and things that he's written. He's always like, Akka number one. Akka means older sister in the language I speak, Kannada. And he would always write that I'm number one and that my parents are tied for number two. And this pure sense of appreciation for me honestly has shaped me into who I am. And I reciprocated that same gratitude. He was a boy wise beyond his years and also knew how to get along with the littlest of kids. He just lit up a room, those people that walk in and you're like drawn to them. Like that's who he was. And even through his treatment and stuff, if he met a nurse even one time and I saw them like a few weeks later, they'd be like, oh my God, like Mithel's here. And he left an impression with every single person that he met. And I think that's so special. And that's who he was. And that's something that really shaped me, his love and his support. Like I don't think I can confidently say that anyone supports me as unconditionally as he did, aside from my parents, of course. But it was something else to have that come from him. And it definitely helped me become this person who is now talking to you and even able to start this podcast. In fact, if he were here, he might even say that I'm being a copycat because he originally started YouTube videos like how to shoot a basketball or, would record him playing video games and things like that. If you want to check any of those out, by the way, they are linked on the website. So if you want to check out the original Prasad sibling videos, then you can definitely check that out. And that's kind of who we were. My relationship with my brother has always been so close. Like if you ask anyone, any of my friends, they would be like I've never seen a pair of siblings like that are this close. And I was like, yeah, that's just kind of who we were, like this equal admiration for each other. I think really shaped our relationship, and it was something that was super important to both of us. And so you often found us hanging out together, and my family as a whole, we loved being outdoors. We loved biking and swimming and hiking. So for most of my life, that's kind of what I knew. It was me and my brother just doing random things. And then once in a while, my entire family would go on a short trip or sometimes go on a long trip. We loved traveling. And that's how it was for most of the time until the summer of 2015 when we went to India and I was actually interning with an orthopedic surgeon, and my brother was walking a little funny. So we were like, let's just ask the orthopedic surgeon if it has anything to do with his legs or his bones. And when I did, he was like, no, just go to a neurologist. And we were kind of like, why? But also, when a doctor tells you something, you listen. So we took him to a relative who was a neurosurgeon in India. And after a few tests, they were like, let's just get an MRI. They did the MRI, and when they got the results, they were kind of like, just get on the next plane and go back to the US. And we were all a little confused. We knew it was a brain tumor at this time, and we were worried, but we didn't know anything else. So we came back within a few days of talking to the orthopedic surgeon and went to Stanford, where they told us that Mithil had DIPG, diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. If you want to know what that is, that will be my first official podcast. All the, things you need to know about it, you can find in that episode, so check that out. But once we found out the diagnosis, we were also given the prognosis of 9 to 12 months. Understandably, we were all devastated, but, we put it all aside and we helped my brother fight a very fierce battle, and, he did everything he could, as did my parents. But after 15 months, he became an angel on November 27th, 2016. And something that I didn't expect to experience, that I experienced then, that really shifted my view, was that my grief as a sibling was not as understood as my parents were. Obviously, when a parent loses a child, it's devastating, and everyone was focused on that. But I realized that because of that, people often overlooked my grief as a sibling. I was often told, oh, be strong for your parents. And of course, I wanted to be strong for them, but I also wanted someone to acknowledge my own grief. And so it's kind of where this passion to hear voices and make the effort to get to know other people's voice came from. And it was also stemmed from the fact that my family's foundation, the Rachna Prasad Foundation, recently hosted an interview with Jace Ward, who is a current DIPG patient and a fantastic human being. And we did an interview with him and Dr. Nick Vitanza, who is a leading physician and researcher in the field. And there were so many people who were just so ready to engage with this topic or ask questions or have comments. And, I just realized that there is so much that we could share within this community, but also to many others outside of the community, to kind of raise awareness and share our stories and be heard by people who might not know a lot about this disease. I think it's a great way. I think our stories are so powerful. So after talking with a few people, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this podcast where I talk to physicians or researchers, families, siblings, patients, foundations, anyone who is connected to this community and wants to share something. I would love to hear from them. And that's kind of the idea behind this podcast. So if you know someone, or you yourself, or if you want to hear a particular voice, then please do contact us through heartherare@gmail.com or our website, heartherare.com, and fill out a contact form. Because in future episodes, I will be talking to all these people from the DIPG community. And if you know someone who should be a part of that, I would love to include them. So that's the idea behind this podcast. I'm really excited to start this project because it's something important to me. I love talking to people, getting to know their perspective, and that's all this entire project is about. And I truly do believe that we are all just stronger together, and the sense of community is often what gets me through the hard days that I continue to have after the loss of my brother. And if I can provide that sense of community for someone else, I would love to. That would really make me so happy. And even though, my mission will always be to foster a sense of hope and stay positive, I know that these stories are hard. We all do stem from tragedy, and that's unfortunately how it is, even though that is also the thing that binds us together and makes us so strong. So knowing that some of these stories or, interviews will be hard to do, it's important for me to also somehow still bring a sense of hopefulness at the end of these podcasts. So with that in mind, I just want to share something with all of you that I will do at the end of each of my podcasts to kind of instill this belief that I have, that I want to remain hopeful. And that is creating a sense of gratitude at the end of each podcast. It's something I do in my daily life at the end of each day. I write a little bit, and I always end with something I'm grateful for, because I read somewhere that when you are grateful, you can be nothing else. If you're sad or mad or frustrated or anything, if you take a minute and think of things you are grateful for, you can feel no other emotion. And it's something that I really do believe is true, and I've kind of incorporated into my own life, so that I end every day with a sense of gratitude, and that's kind of what I want to do with this podcast. So no matter how heavy or sad it gets, I want every podcast to be to end this way. And so with that in mind, I just want to say that I'm grateful for every single one of you guys who has chosen to listen and be part of this journey with me. It means so much. I'm grateful for my parents who have really supported me through this journey. One day I was like, I kind of want to start this podcast, and they've been behind me 100% through it, and it means a lot. And I am so grateful for my little brother, because I would not be the person I am without his love, his joy, his presence in my life, even though it was short. And so that is kind of what this podcast is about, and I hope you will follow me on this journey. I would love to share it with all of you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, again, please reach out through heartherare@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can get all the podcasts as they come out, and look forward to hearing them every other Monday. Thank you guys so much, and I look forward to sharing this journey with you.